The sun hung low over the dusty plains as a lonely cowboy named Colehart rode toward the fading outline of a weather-beaten cabin. He wasn't looking for company. He wasn't looking for trouble either. But fate carved its own trails, and sometimes a man had no choice but to follow. As he approached, he heard a voice, soft, trembling, and carrying years of buried hope. "Sir? Please stop." A widow stepped from the porch, her worn dress catching the breeze, her hands nervously clasped in front of her. Her name was May Holloway, a woman who had weathered storms most folks never survived. Loss, silence, and a home slowly falling apart around her. With a cracked voice, she whispered, "I haven't been touched like this in years." Cole froze, the reins tightening in his hands. But before he could speak, she added, "I mean help, kindness, someone fixing what's broken." She pointed toward the sagging cabin door, half ripped off its hinges. The roof groaned. The windows rattled like lonely bones. She wasn't asking for affection, she was asking for rescue. Cole slid off his horse and stepped closer, boots crunching on the dry earth. "Ma'am, tell me what you need." May sighed with relief, the weight of months lifting from her shoulders. "My husband built this place with his own hands. When he passed, things started falling apart faster than I could fight them. The door won't close. The roof leaks. The wind keeps slipping in like a thief at night. I'm starving for someone to help me keep this place alive." Cole nodded, stripping off his gloves and setting them on a post. He inspected the broken boards, the crooked frame. The nails rusted and sticking out like thorns. "I can fix this," he said simply. She looked at him as if he had spoken a miracle. May hovered nearby while Cole hammered the first nail, watching with a mix of gratitude and disbelief. "You work like my husband used to," she whispered. "Quiet, steady, like you're apologizing to the wood for hurtin'." Cole didn't reply, just kept working, aligning the frame, tightening bolts, forcing stubborn planks back into place. When the door finally swung shut with a solid, satisfying thud, May gasped and covered her mouth. Do one more thing?" she asked softly. Cole turned. "What else needs fixin', ma'am?" She motioned toward the back of the cabin. "There's a beam in the kitchen about to give. If it falls, the whole roof might come down. I tried to brace it myself, but..." Her voice broke. Cole followed her inside where dust drifted like tired snow. The beam sagged dangerously, groaning under its own weight. He pressed a hand to it and nodded. "All right. I'll take care of it." As Cole set his tools down again, May whispered behind him, "Thank you. I didn't think anyone would ever help me again." Cole didn't turn around, but he felt the truth in her words settling deep in his chest. He wasn't just fixing a home. He was fixing a life that had been left to fall apart. Cole braced his shoulder beneath the sagging kitchen beam, feeling the weight of years pressing down on him, as if the house were exhaling all its sorrow at once. May hovered nearby, wringing her hands, her eyes shimmering with worry. "If that beam falls, everything my husband built goes with it," she whispered. Cole set a wedge beneath it, driving it in with steady strikes that echoed through the small cabin like a heartbeat returning to life. Dust rained down, but the beam held firm, settling into place with a groan that slowly softened. May released a breath she'd been holding for weeks, maybe months. "You don't know what this means to me," she murmured. Cole wiped his brow with the back of his sleeve. "Ma'am, I'm just lending a hand." But May shook her head. "No, you're doing more than that. Every board you straighten feels like you're giving me a piece of my life back." Cole didn't know how to answer that. So he knelt again, tightening bolts and checking the frame for cracks. When he stood, May was staring at him as though she were seeing something she didn't recognize, hope. "Could you do one more thing?" she asked softly. Cole raised an eyebrow. "What now?" She motioned toward the far room. "The pantry door is jammed. I haven't been able to open it for weeks. The hinges snapped and everything inside is trapped. My husband carved that door himself, losing it. Feels like losing him all over again." Cole nodded and followed her into the narrow hallway, where the carved wooden door leaned crookedly in its frame. He pressed his fingers against the engraving. Simple mountain lines, a small star, initials worn by time. "He did good work," Cole said quietly. May smiled, a lonely smile. "He did." Cole set to work, easing the door from its broken hinge, catching it before it struck the ground. For a moment, May clutched her chest, as though seeing her husband's handiwork in someone else's hands revived something fragile inside her. "I'll fix it," Cole promised. He shaved down the swollen edges, replaced the hinge screws with the last set he carried in his saddlebag, and gently guided the door back into its frame until it swung freely. May gasped, covering her mouth as tears gathered. "It opens," she whispered. "It really opens." Cole stepped back, letting her touch the smooth wood as if greeting an old friend. She turned to him slowly. "Could you, maybe, help with one more thing?" Cole chuckled softly. "Ma'am, you've said that twice. Already." But her expression wasn't demanding, it was pleading. "The barn," she whispered. "A storm tore half the roof off last winter. The animals have no shelter. I've been praying for someone to help me fix it before the next storm hits. I can't lose anything else." Cole stared out the window toward the barn, half collapsed, tilting, beaten by time. He sighed and grabbed his hat. "All right," he said. "Show me the way." And May followed him, hope gathering around her like morning light. The old barn stood at the far edge of the property, leaning like a tired giant ready to fall to its knees. Wind slipped through the missing boards with a low, mournful whistle, and the sky above stretched wide and gray as if holding back another storm. Cole stepped inside, boots sinking into soft dirt, eyes scanning the broken rafters and the roof that sagged dangerously overhead. May hovered behind him, clutching her shawl tightly around her shoulders. "I've tried to fix it myself," she said softly, "but every time I stepped inside, I felt like the whole thing was waiting to collapse on me." Cole placed a hand on one of the cracked posts and gave it a firm shake. The entire structure groaned, dust sifting down in a tired cloud. "It's bad," he said, "but not hopeless." May's breath trembled. "Nothing on this land has been hopeless since you got here." Cole didn't respond, just rolled up his sleeves and began hauling the fallen planks aside, clearing the floor so he could work. He replaced the broken support beam first, lifting it with a grunt and bracing it against the wall until it locked into place. Then he climbed the ladder, hammer in hand, and began repairing the rafters one by one. May stood below, eyes following every movement, as though watching someone rebuild, her faith nail by nail. Hours passed. The sun dipped low. The barn, for the first time in years, began to look alive again. When Cole hammered the last board into place and climbed down, May looked at him with a trembling smile. "You saved it," she whispered. "You saved everything." Cole dusted off his hands. "Mom, I just did what needed doing." But May stepped closer, her voice gentler than dusk itself. "No cowboy has ever done this much for me, not since my husband passed. Every time you fixed something, it felt like you were fixing a part of me too." Cole looked away, feeling emotions he wasn't used to carrying. He walked to the barn door, testing its swing. It opened smoothly, clean, strong, steady. May gasped softly, her hand rising to her lips. "Cole, could you do one more thing?" He turned slowly. "Ma'am," he said gently, "I think I already fixed everything I could." But she shook her head. "Not everything." She stepped closer, placing a small wooden box in his hands. "This was my husband's. Tools he carved himself. I want you to have them. Not as payment, but as thanks." Cole hesitated, then lifted the lid. Inside lay a set of hand-shaped tools, worn smooth by years of honest work. He closed the box slowly. "I can't take this." "You can," she whispered, "because you gave me something I thought I'd lost forever. Strength." Cole set his hat on his head and looked toward the horizon, where night began brushing the plains with shadow. "Take care of yourself, May," she nodded, tears shining in. "You Cole hard wherever your trail leads." With that, he mounted his horse, the weight of the wooden box resting against his saddle, and rode off into the fading light, leaving behind a home no longer broken and a widow no longer alone.